$36,000 in a Masters of Counseling program. And I'm just learning this now. How did Jesus heal? If it was Sky Daddy magic stuff, I'm less than interested. I don't believe it. I hope it isn't true. I believe it isn't true. Why would he waste our time on Sky Daddy magic stuff to frustrate us, to distract us? Anyway, it is clear to my soul that there is a type of healing that he definitely did, and it's the important stuff. Healing the soul, and more particularly, creating a healing environment for the soul. To liberate the soul to do its own healing. In the largely hideous field of psychology, it's another cult environment like Christianity. Though there are a few saints, a few prophets in psychology. Of the hundreds of different so-called schools of psychology, different techniques, like denominations, I suspect, in Christianity. If one tries to understand which one is the most therapeutic, the answer is all and none. If one tries to understand what is therapeutic from a psychological standpoint, it is empathic listening. Upwards of 90%, as I recall, of healing that is observed is when the individual, be it a practitioner in psychology or the school janitor, provides an empathic listening presence for someone that is struggling psychologically. And what that does is empower, free, liberate, activate the soul of the individual. And in the very act of doing that, the soul of the individual begins to heal itself. That's what souls do. They heal themselves and they heal others. And just now am I understanding what Jesus' healing ministry was. When people were in his presence, they weren't alone. He was aware, he made it his business to be aware of the woman that was hemorrhaging. The lepers whose primary affliction was being shunned from the community and therefore forced to be alone in life. And Jesus stepped into that. No, you're not going to be alone when I'm around. The lepers, the prostitutes, the tax collectors, all of the people that were in forced isolation, forced aloneness by the satanic Jewish religion as it was practiced at the time. Jesus stepped into the breach. The crowds came, and Jesus made it his business to notice that they were alone. They were alone in their physical hunger. And he told the disciples, we are going to feed them. And the food was nice. But what was healing, what was crucial, was for the people to realize, whether they thought of it or not, that they were not alone. Love, properly understood and practiced, does that. Love, properly understood and practiced, is that. Hypersensitive to who is alone and stepping into that breach. Now, in psychology, what is known to be therapeutic is empathic listening. What is known to be pathogenic, that is, creating lack of health, is interfering, is inserting oneself, asserting oneself in the life of another. That's pathogenic. That's to cause someone to experience themselves as an object, to be treated as an object, at the whim of the would-be helper. It's a terrible crime that we've been taught to do, thinking it was virtue. No, empathic listening is making of oneself an available presence, not enforcing oneself, but making of oneself an available presence that is hypervigilant to the needs of the other, the psychological needs of the other. To make of oneself an active, empathic ear, an empathic listening soul to the soul of another, should the other want to share. And if what the other wants to share is, I'm not talking now, I'm not wanting to be interrupted now, I'm not wanting to be disrupted now, then what the empathic soul instinctively does is possibly withdraw, if that's what the individual is indicating, or simply to sit alongside physically, to be at a respectful distance in the same space, in case the individual wants to reach out their hand and grab on. In the entire field of psychology, though it is called empathic listening, what I've understood just now is it is the act of being such that the truth is the individual feeling alone no longer has reason to feel alone. It cannot be pushed beyond that. It must not be pushed beyond that. That one tries to force themselves on another until they feel not alone. That can't be done. That mustn't be done. But to be aware of those who are alone and to live one's life moment by moment in a way that fills the gap to the point that the individual has reason to know that they are not alone, is what Jesus did and what Jesus led us to do.